Greetings, seekers of power and wisdom. Have you ever wondered why the mightiest rulers, the most cunning leaders, seem untroubled by the scorn of the masses? Why do they thrive while others, desperate for love, falter? Today we unravel a timeless problem, the futile pursuit of being liked, which weakens authority and invites ruin. Join me as we explore, through the lens of Machiavelli, why true power demands a colder, sharper path. I am your guide, a humble narrator steeped in the wisdom of Machiavelli, whose piercing insights into power and human nature remain unmatched. In a world swayed by fleeting emotions and fickle loyalties, Machiavelli teaches us that the quest for universal admiration is a trap. Power, not affection, secures dominion. In this script, inspired by his ruthless pragmatism, we shall dissect 5 key principles that reveal why the powerful shun the need to be liked, forging their legacy through fear, calculation, and resolve. You've been taught since childhood that being liked is a virtue. That if you are kind, accommodating, and pleasant, the world will reward you. You are told, be nice, and they will respect you. But let me ask you this, how many kings have fallen because they wanted to be loved? How many rulers have been devoured by the very people they once tried to please? The truth, cold and absolute, is this: being liked is a trap. It is the most dangerous illusion a man of power can fall into. You see, when you hunger to be liked, you give others the power to define you. Their approval becomes your leash. You begin adjusting your behavior, your words, your decisions, not based on what is right, not based on what is necessary, but based on what will keep their smiles intact. This makes you vulnerable, predictable, soft. A man who seeks to be liked becomes a puppet whose strings are pulled by everyone but himself. I have observed princes who greeted their subjects with laughter, who walked among the people as one of them, who spoke gently and gave generously, all in the hope of being adored. They believed their charm would be their shield. But when the winds of difficulty came, when taxes needed raising, when war demanded harsh action, the same people who cheered them turned. Because liking is not loyalty. Admiration is not allegiance, and affection vanishes the moment you stop serving their comfort. This is the brutal nature of mankind. They will love you only so long as you do not inconvenience them. The moment your actions cause them to suffer, even for a greater good, they will forget your kindness and remember only their pain. And pain breeds betrayal. Power built on the desire to be liked is like a fortress built on sand, attractive, but destined to collapse. Let me show you how this trap works, step by step. First, you begin to compromise. Not once, not twice, but as a habit. You silence your instincts. You delay hard decisions. You nod when you should disagree. You give when you should withhold. All because you fear being disliked. You trade your authority for applause. Second, they begin to test you. They see your flexibility and they mistake it for fear. Your need to be liked sends a signal. This man can be influenced. This man will bend if we push. They will press you further, violate your boundaries, and mask it under the veil of friendliness. Third, you start losing control. The people around you no longer take you seriously. Your yes means little, and your no means even less. The image of strength disappears, and with it, your ability to lead. Because in the game of power, perception is reality. But worst of all, you begin to lose yourself. You forget what you stand for. You forget your mission. Your path becomes dictated by emotional approval, not strategic purpose. And when you finally realize it, it's too late. You are surrounded by people who like you, but who do not respect you. And there is no greater failure for a ruler than to be surrounded by smiles that carry no loyalty. Now ask yourself this. Have you ever said yes when you wanted to say no, just to be liked? Have you tolerated disrespect because you feared confrontation? Have you ever hidden your ambition because you didn't want others to feel uncomfortable? That is the trap tightening. Understand this. The desire to be liked is not a harmless personality trait. It is a political weakness. It is a silent poison that drains your strength while making you believe you are safe. It is the tactic of the fearful, the uncertain, the ones who wish to survive rather than rule. I do not say these words to turn you into a tyrant. I say them so you may become sovereign over yourself. Being liked cannot be your compass. It cannot be the engine behind your choices. Because the moment you build your power on their affection, you've already given it away. They will never like you enough to keep you in power. They will never love you enough to protect you when you fall. And they will never hesitate to turn on you when your usefulness fades. So tell me, or do you wish to be liked? Or do you wish to Do you wish to be in control? You may think that affection and respect are companions, that if they like you, they will naturally respect you. But I assure you, that belief is a fantasy born in the minds of those too weak to rule. A dangerous myth for anyone who dares to lead, because affection is emotional. Respect is structural. One dissolves in chaos, the other governs through it. When a ruler seeks affection, he risks his authority. When a man craves love from the crowd, he invites rebellion when that love fades. But respect lasts longer than emotion. It survives disappointment, it outlives charm, and most importantly, it creates obedience even in disagreement. Power, if it is to endure, must be built not on the smiles of men, but on the certainty of consequences. Respect comes not from what you give, but from what you uphold. It is not earned by softness, but by consistency. And most of all, it is born from the knowledge that you are not to be trifled with. That when you speak, your word is final. That when you draw a line, it is not crossed. You must understand the psychology of those you lead, whether they are your employees, your followers, or your enemies. People do not respect those who bend easily. They do not admire those who over-explain themselves. They do not follow those who are desperate for their approval. They watch, they test, they calculate. And the moment they see that your need to be liked overrides your need to be firm, they stop respecting you. That is when they talk over you. That is when they defy your decisions in private and undermine them in public. That is when your authority becomes ceremonial, visible, but powerless. True respect is earned in silence, in the way you carry yourself, in how you respond to disrespect, in the decisions you make that are unpopular, but necessary. And yes, it often comes at the cost of being liked. But what would you rather have? A fleeting affection that disappears the moment you say no, or the kind of respect that forces people to think twice before crossing you? Let me give you a lesson, let me give you a warning. A man who is respected may not always be liked, but he is never forgotten. He may not be loved, but his presence commands attention, and when he speaks, the room listens. That is the ruler you must become. Consider the lion. The lion does not ask to be loved. It does not wag its tail or soften its growl to win affection. Its power lies in presence. It walks through the jungle with certainty, and because of that, others yield. The lion is respected not because it roars, but because others know what will happen if it must. This is the nature of power. It does not beg, it does not plead, it simply is. Now contrast that with the man who chases affection. He becomes a performer. He apologizes when he should assert. He flatters when he should confront. He hesitates when he should strike. He confuses kindness with influence. And soon, the people around him begin to sense weakness, masked in politeness. Do you think they will respect such a man? They will smile to his face and laugh behind his back. They will use his gentleness as a shield against responsibility. And when he finally gathers the courage to assert himself, it will be too late. His image is already set in their minds. A man who wants to be liked more than he wants to be strong. Now listen carefully. There is nothing wrong with being kind. There is nothing wrong with being fair. But never mistake those qualities for leadership. Power does not come from kindness alone. It comes from the ability to be kind when you choose that. Ruthless is what creates respect. That choice. is what creates respect. The key is this: you must teach the world how to treat you. You must make it known, consciously or unconsciously, that you are a man who values order, not emotion, that you make decisions based on vision, not vanity, that you can be generous but never exploited. Because once people know that you are not desperate to be liked, they begin to trust your strength. They stop testing your limits. They start fearing your disapproval more than they crave your praise. And that, my friend, is when you begin to rule. There is a dangerous illusion that floats in the minds of modern men and women, the illusion of niceness. They believe that by being agreeable, soft-spoken, endlessly patient, and eternally pleasant, they will earn admiration. They believe that if they never raise their voice, if they smile even when insulted, if they keep the peace at all costs, they will be elevated, respected, followed. But I tell you this, the world does not reward the nice, it uses them. People confuse niceness with weakness, and weakness invites challenge. Weakness is the blood in the water that attracts the sharks. A man who is always nice is seen as someone who can be pushed. Someone who fears conflict. Someone who will apologize for things that don't need apologies. He becomes the emotional cushion for others to walk on, the easy target, the silent receiver of disrespect. And worst of all, he trains the world to treat him that way. Niceness, when not paired with strength, becomes your curse. It tells others, this person fears disapproval. It tells them, this one values peace more than dignity, and so they test you, first subtly, a little joke at your expense, a harmless disrespect passed off as play, a public interruption, a missed credit for your efforts, and you, because you want to be nice, laugh it off, let it go, smile through the insult. But let me ask you, did you win their respect that day? Or did you teach them that your boundaries are invisible? You see, when you never stand firm, never express anger, never push back, they assume one thing: you're afraid. You don't want to lose favor. You want to stay liked, and that desire becomes your leash. Niceness is not the same as virtue. It is not nobility. Niceness in the wrong context is just silence in the face of disrespect. And that silence builds quietly until one day you look around and realize no one takes you seriously. Power does not belong to the eternally agreeable. It belongs to the man who knows when to smile and when to show his teeth. The man who knows that respect is earned not only through generosity, but through the refusal to tolerate insolence. Have you ever seen how a room changes when a truly respected figure enters? People straighten up, they watch their words, they measure their tone. Why? Because that person does not radiate niceness. He radiates presence, standards, boundaries, strength. Now consider the opposite. A man who always shrinks himself to avoid offending, who avoids conflict like a sickness, who says yes when he wants to say no. That man will be liked, yes, but only by those who do not fear him, only by those who know they can get away with anything around him. And those are not allies, they are opportunists. You must understand this about human nature. People respect what resists. They are drawn to those who make them earn it. The harder it is to cross you, the more they admire your spine. The more easily you yield, the less they value your presence. If you are always available, always agreeable, always tolerant, then what makes you different from everyone else? What makes you powerful? Your willingness to say no, your ability to walk away, your refusal to entertain foolishness, that is where respect is born. This doesn't mean you must be cruel. No, cruelty is the refuge of the insecure. But firmness is divine. A man who is calm but unmoved, who listens but does not obey nonsense, who treats others well but allows no one to treat him cheaply. That man becomes a force. Niceness without force is noise, and the world does not remember noise. Let me remind you, many will applaud your politeness. They will say, he's such a good person, so humble, so patient. But behind closed doors they will say, he's not a leader, he's too soft, you can walk over him. And they will be right. If you want to be respected, then you must be prepared to disappoint, to deny, to defend. You must be willing to risk being disliked in the short term in order to own the long term. Because people do not remember how comfortable you made them feel. They remember how clearly you showed them where the line was, and how they dared not cross it again. Let me tell you a secret that every ruler, every true master of power, has always known but few dare to follow. Do not make yourself too available. Presence is a weapon, but overexposure dulls its edge. The more people see you, the less they value you. The more they hear from you, the less weight your voice carries. Power is not only what you say or do, but how rarely and deliberately you say or do it. You think being close to everyone will make them trust you. That if you are always present, always accessible, always open to conversation, you will be loved and respected. But that is not how human nature works. Familiarity does not breed loyalty. Familiarity breeds comfort. Comfort breeds informality. And informality, without boundaries, breeds disrespect. The sun does not rise at midnight to please the world. It appears only at its appointed time. And the world waits in silence for its return. That is authority. A ruler who walks among his people too often, who answers every call, who shares his mind freely with everyone, will soon discover that he has made himself small, ordinary, stripped of the mystery that gives his position gravity. You may think, but Machiavelli, won't people admire my humility if I am always present? They may admire you for a time, but admiration without distance fades into boredom. You will become like furniture, always there, always seen, and eventually ignored. Authority is rooted in perception. You must not only possess power, you must appear to possess something others cannot touch, something they cannot fully know. You must possess. They cannot not fully know, something they must wait for, seek out, and earn access to. That is the power of distance. The more distant you are, the more people project strength onto you. They imagine you are busy with matters of importance. They imagine your silence is filled with calculation. They imagine that when you speak, it will matter. And when you do speak, they listen, because the less they see of you, the more your appearance carries weight. The more rarely you speak, the more meaningful your words speak, the more meaningful your words become. Silence becomes your frame, and what breaks the silence becomes a moment of impact. Why do you think kings sat on thrones, elevated above the common man, cloaked in gold, guarded by walls and servants? Not because they were incapable of walking among the people, but because their power was amplified by separation. Their mystery was preserved by ritual and distance. You do not speak to a king every day, and so when you do, your voice trembles. You do not have to be a king to master this. You only need discipline. You must learn to value your time, your attention, your energy, and treat them as sacred. Do not offer them freely. Let others earn proximity to you. Let your presence be a reward, not a habit. That is how you control the room before you even enter it. Some will say, but if I distance myself, won't people think I'm cold or arrogant? Perhaps. Let them. A little fear is a useful thing. It creates boundaries without words. It forces others to think before they approach, and when they finally do, they bring their best. They prepare, they weigh their words, because they know this moment with you will not come again soon. Distance disciplines the world around you. It raises the bar for interaction. It separates the noise from the necessary. It filters the worthy from the opportunists. And most of all, it protects your image. Because when you are rarely seen, your flaws remain hidden. Your silence covers your imperfections. Your mystery gives birth to legends. Do not confuse isolation with distance. You need not vanish completely. You must simply learn the rhythm of presence, when to appear, when to vanish, and when to return with thunder. Show up when it matters. Speak only when silence needs breaking. Let them wait, let them wonder, let them miss you. Power that is too accessible becomes too common, and common things are never feared, never respected, never remembered. Make your presence something to be earned, not expected. Make them feel your absence. Make them work to earn your audience. That is how you remain unforgettable, without ever needing to explain why. Those who lead with emotion often believe they are being authentic, honest, even noble. But those who lead with strategy, those are the ones who actually rule. Emotion makes you reactive. Strategy makes you untouchable. Most people are driven by how they feel. If they feel disrespected, they lash out. If they feel excited, they speak too soon. If they feel guilty, they apologize when they should remain silent. They are slaves to their own internal storms, mistaking movement for control, vulnerability for connection, and chaos for power. But power does not tolerate chaos. Power demands precision. If you wish to influence others, whether it's your enemies, your allies, your superiors, your subordinates, you must learn to abandon emotion as your compass. You must stop acting on instinct and start acting with intent. Every move must be calculated. Every silence must be measured. Every appearance must serve a purpose. You do not influence people by shouting louder. You influence them by creating outcomes they cannot avoid. Most men think that by sharing their emotions, they are building trust. They are not. They are exposing leverage. They are revealing what can be used against them. If I know what frustrates you, I can provoke it. If I know what you desire, I can manipulate it. If I know what you fear, I can control you without lifting a finger. But if you move with strategy, no one can read you. You appear calm when you are planning, indifferent when you are watching, and precise when you strike. This is the way of power. You do not scream for attention. You make people wait for your reaction. You let them grow uncertain. That uncertainty becomes your weapon. When you act emotionally, your behavior becomes predictable. You get angry, and they expect it. You become kind, and they expect it. You are generous, and they grow entitled. But when you act with strategy, you become unreadable. People hesitate. They cannot tell if your smile is sincere or planned. They cannot tell if your silence is approval or punishment. They cannot tell if you are offended or waiting. That mystery gives you control. It forces them to negotiate with your presence rather than assume it. Think of influence not as charisma, but as architecture. It must be built, designed, and reinforced carefully. You do not influence by being emotional. You influence by being effective. If someone disrespects you and you react in rage, they will remember your emotions, not your boundaries. But if someone disrespects you and you respond days later, strategically, calmly, in a way that costs them something real, they will never forget that you are dangerous to provoke. The emotionally reactive man loses power in every room he enters. The strategic man controls the room without speaking. You must decide who you want to be. Do you want to be liked for your warmth or followed for your mind? Because the masses will always favor the man who entertains their emotions, but they will obey the man who moves with intention. Influence comes from your ability to remain grounded when others tremble, to remain still when others flinch, to move when the timing is correct, not when your heart races. A powerful man does not speak his plan, he executes it. A powerful man does not beg for agreement, he creates alignment through pressure and consequence. A powerful man does not react to insult, he notes it, remembers it, and decides later whether it is useful to punish it. Every interaction is a move on the board. Every conversation is a battle for position. Every silence is a test of who will break first, and the one who is ruled by emotion will always break first. Strategy means thinking 3 moves ahead. It means saying less than necessary. It means watching more than speaking. It means letting others reveal themselves first, so you can choose the most effective way to deal with them. Do not be seduced by the modern illusion that emotions must guide your every step. They will lead you in circles, they will betray you, and they will leave you naked in front of those who know how to use them against you. When you act strategically, your influence becomes absolute. You are not trying to impress anyone. You are designing outcomes. You are creating dependencies. You are shifting people not through feelings, but through force, leverage, timing, and structure. Power is not built by sincerity. It is built by discipline. And those who master strategy will always have influence over those who master nothing but emotion. You were told to be kind, to be soft, to be agreeable. You were told that love wins hearts and hearts win power. But I have shown you the truth rulers have known since the beginning of time. Power does not belong to the liked. It belongs to the respected. It belongs to those who understand human nature and do not fight it, but exploit it. If you chase affection, you will be ruled. If you demand respect, you will rule. The powerful do not fear being disliked. They fear losing control. They do not seek validation. They command loyalty. They do not explain their presence. They make it felt. And they do not move with emotion. They move with precision, watching as others fall into the traps they refuse to see. You are not here to be accepted. You are here to be remembered. So choose now. Will you live to be liked? Or will you rise to be feared, respected, and obeyed? Because in the end, those who try to please everyone please no one, and those who master power answer to no one.